Well, all right. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Brenizer, and I am getting on Facebook and YouTube streaming at the same time for the second time, 2 days out of 365 days. I have a big plan on being able to help all kinds of artists, whether you're a musician, a writer, a painter, you name it, understand the world of blockchain, NFTs, and how that can help you really increase your exposure, build an amazing community that are super engaged in a variety of ways, and also be able to go directly to fans and cut out the middleman and really have an amazing opportunity to grow your own audience. It's interesting if you are, let's say that you're a seller on Amazon, right? There are a lot of different people who are selling things on Amazon or different companies. And the difficult thing, of course, is you've been selling to all of these people. And if Amazon, for some reason, decided that they were going to close down how they were running their platform, and it became much more difficult to be a seller on Amazon, you wouldn't be able to take all those users with you and go set up at another website, another platform. They own all of those people who have purchased from you in the past. Now, there are ways that you can try to get around that, and putting inserts in the things that you're shipping and all of that to see if people can get on your own list that you control. But it's this idea: they control the eyeballs, they control the potential clients and customers, and you don't. So you can, of course, pay them advertising to get in front of a lot of different people as well. So this is a thing similar to that, but for artists, in that you would want to be on a platform where you actually control your access to your raving fans, or if you're a luxury brand and you make collectibles like amazing watches, you obviously want to be able to go directly to your customers and offer them something new, or offer them an experience that they can't get elsewhere, and not have to rely on a third party to be able to push that out there for you. Now, some people want to rely on third parties. They don't want to worry about the marketing and the sales and building offers and setting up a tour. They don't want to print t-shirts. They don't want, there are a lot of things, right? You, as an artist, you kind of want to focus on your art, but there are some people out there who really will want to have that extra touch and engagement, and at least be able to have a say in how these things are going to play out, and also know exactly where the money is going, and so that when it arrives in your bank account, or in this case your cryptocurrency wallet, for the type of things that I talk about with blockchain, NFTs, and smart contracts, when it ends up in your wallet, you can be, I guess, have more confidence that you're getting the right amount. So that would be nice as well. Now, today I wanted to just talk about the absolute basics when it comes to NFT blockchains and smart contracts. Super, super simple. I want to go all the way back. Yesterday I talked about the benefits of NFTs, creating NFTs for artists, and I just barely touched on that subject, and it was, I think, 30 minutes streaming. But today I will probably go a little bit shorter, and I should add to this content is also related to the Phenomenal Future project, and some of this will go up on the Phenomenal Future podcast and will be available in audio format. Some of the stuff that I do here, of course, in video will be harder to describe in audio. It will probably just live on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else I post or stream. So it would be fantastic if if anybody is listening here, watching here, put that in the chat. Let me know that you're on. Now, I haven't shared this channel or these channels with that many people, so I'm not expecting too much here at the beginning while I get used to being on video. And I would love to have your feedback and let me know if the information that I'm providing is at all useful, and if there are other topics that you would like me to cover or go deeper on. I'd be really happy to get that kind of feedback and really start delivering content that you want, not that I think you want. So I really appreciate any of you who watch this, and I will definitely be reading all the comments and responding as much as I possibly can. And we're here right at the beginning of this phenomenal future project, the PFP, and I can't be more excited to be, on. Ooh, look, I got a little bit of sweat on my lip, which is fantastic. And oh, there might be even a little bit of delay in the video, so I apologize for that, if that's the case. Doing my best here, learning the technology. Today, I'm going to switch over here and give you a different view. So I'm going to cover today what the heck is an NFT? What does this acronym stand for? And well, it stands for non-fungible token. Is that even that helpful? Like, what does non-fungible mean? What does fungible mean? So fungible means that something is equivalent to something else. Money is a perfect example. A dollar bill. If you're in the United States and you have a dollar bill, that dollar that you have in your pocket, you could hand it to someone else and they can give you $1 back later, and it has the same value, barring inflation and a number of other things. But one for one, those things are equivalent. That's an example of fungibility. I had a friend that I was speaking with yesterday, Chance Agrella. He brought up the fact that in some ways, like a car, if you're buying, let's say a Lexus, I don't know, a Camry, it doesn't really matter, a car, if it has the same attributes as another one, it's the same color and it has the same wheels and the same rims and the same engine and all that kind of stuff, is that fungible? Is it something you could trade with someone one to one? Maybe right at the beginning when it rolls off the factory line and they have the same number of miles on them and they literally have all the same specs. Maybe so. But when someone starts driving that, there's a history that goes along with it. Once it's had maintenance that's different than the second car, can you actually trade those? Are they equivalent in value? Not as much. So that's starting to get to this point where we're moving into something that's not quite so fungible. Now, non-fungible is a good example of that would be something that has a value. When we say token, we're just saying item. That's what token means, a non-fungible token. Non-fungible item, non-fungible unit is really what that is. So if we looked at, I think I used the example of the Mona Lisa yesterday. So the Mona Lisa, there's one of one, right? It has a value, and each person values it differently depending on whether they love art or they don't, or they like this artist over that artist. Now there is a consensus where a group of people kind of come to a value of what that might go for in the open market if it were to ever leave the museum that it's in Paris. But you couldn't just trade it for another painting, really. Like, I guess you could trade the Mona Lisa for 4 other paintings that have an equivalent value or something like that. But we're getting into that point where it's not a one-to-one relationship. It's really much harder to sell the Mona Lisa. There are only so many people that will buy that. Whereas if you have a whole bunch of dollars in your bank, you can go deposit those in another bank, and the bank will be happy to say, yeah, those dollars are great, right? They're equivalent. They have exactly the value that I would expect that they have. So that's a little bit of a description about what a non-fungible token is. Now, of course, I have on the screen here a description of exactly what that, like a definition, and it too is very technical, right? Cryptographically secured digital certificates of ownership of an asset. So in this case of blockchain, the NFT is secure, cryptographically secured, digital, and it shows ownership of an asset, like in the case of what we've seen in the last year, an image file. It's pretty slim as far as use case, There are a lot of other things, of course, that can be secured that are digital. A book, a story, a set of rights. Of course, that's when we get into the whole smart contract, and we'll get to that in a bit. Let's go back into this definition and dive into it a little bit deeper. An NFT can be bought, sold, gifted, or traded. You may be able to do more things with it later, but currently that's what we've been seeing as far as how the technology has gone. Now, each NFT is unique. Just like I said in the Mona Lisa case, it is unique. There is only one. An NFT is designed to be unique. Even if the image associated with the NFT appears to be exactly the same, there's metadata that basically goes with an NFT that might actually have different attributes. And so that would create a sense of uniqueness to it. Now, of course, the identity of that unique non-fungible token can be verified through the public blockchain ledger. Now, a blockchain, we'll get to this in a minute, but it's just imagine a chain of information. You add information every time something new goes on the blockchain. It goes right at the end. It gets added into a new block, and you can't go add stuff back up where stuff had been written in a previous manner. And that's why it's secured. It's not something that can be altered or changed after the fact. It's pretty cool. Now, so this is a public historical record. I keep using this word public in this definition, and that's also important. A blockchain, when it is done in a decentralized way, it is searchable. The data that's on it is searchable by anyone and everyone that would like to do that. It's public. So information cannot... Some information, like who owns a wallet, might be hidden. There are aspects of things that are hidden. But overall, the aggregate data is searchable, and it's easy for someone to verify if data on one copy of the blockchain is matching the data on the other copy of the blockchain. We're getting into technicalities here on how the security and the blockchain, which is distributed around the world on many different computers, that transactions get verified. There has to be a consensus in the way that that's done. I won't get into that today. I really just want to go through some simple definitions here. And here at the end, NFTs cannot be copied. Now, the images that are associated with an NFT or a movie file that's associated with an NFT could technically, if someone got access to the file, could copy that. But that is not the actual NFT. The NFT is the record and metadata along with the image or music or movie file or article that has been written. So this is an interesting thing. It really shows, it gives people the opportunity to really verify. Let's say information like your college degree got added to a blockchain. Well, it would be very simple for an employer to do a background check on you on a blockchain and see, oh, is that actually true or not? I think I might be having some problems with the streaming here, so I apologize for that. If that's the case, I will be posting this after the fact, just to make sure people can get access to this content. So I'm doing my best here, like I said, with the technology. I'm going to run through this and keep going. What is a blockchain? Let me just read it. A blockchain is a permanent and secure digital record of transactions. Now, for the most part, what we've seen are cryptocurrency transactions, but there are other things that can be recorded on a blockchain, like votes. People can vote, and that isn't necessarily money or value being transferred, but it would give a nice historical record of exactly what has occurred in an election. The transactions are recorded chronologically and are available to be viewed publicly. I described that earlier. The blockchain is comprised of a linkage of blocks, where each block is simply a batch of completed transactions. Now, batch just means multiple transactions get grouped together and added onto the blockchain as a new block. If we look at Bitcoin, which most people have heard of, the first viable cryptocurrency that was created, their new blocks, I think, are written to the Bitcoin blockchain every 10 minutes. So if you were trying to make a whole bunch of purchases using Bitcoin and you were at a store, you might have to wait for it to clear 10 minutes, right, to say, yes, in fact, the transaction went through. Obviously, Bitcoin is not the greatest thing to go buy a coffee with, and that's one of the reasons why not. Other blockchains are solving those kinds of problems, and they're doing thousands or millions of transactions per minute. So there are a lot of there's a lot of awesome technology out there, and a lot of people really pushing the boundaries of what's possible here. But just simply put, it's a chain of information, and like I said before, you can't change anything in the past. You can only add stuff in the present, on the current space, at the end of the chain. Now, individual blocks are secured by linking them with previous blocks with complex mathematical functions. So for something to get written to that new space at the end of the blockchain, there is a lot of verification going on to make sure that the data that's being written on there is appropriate. Again, technical details that we don't all need to know, but if someone wants to know about this, I can at least point you in the right direction in the comments, or I can go do some research and come back with another podcast or another video for you on that front. Now, blocks are immutable. That means they cannot be changed or deleted after being written to the chain. So I've been mentioning that multiple times here, but when you hear the term immutable when people are talking about blockchain, there are all of these fancy words and stuff. I just really wanted to make it so that we could get a better handle on this with just regular language that we're used to. So that is a very simple description of a blockchain, if you can believe it. Now, what's a smart contract? I've talked about those as well in previous videos, and let's look into this. A smart contract is a digital contract consisting of lines of code, that's programming language, that's code, that automatically execute specific commands when predetermined conditions are met. So a regular contract is written in legal language, and it is enforceable by going to court and things like that. This is automatically executable based on conditions that are met in the outside world, which is really cool. It's enforcing the contract, which we kind of have a difficulty doing in the real world. So that's pretty cool. The code written in the smart contract exists on the blockchain and permits agreements and transactions to be carried out by anonymous parties. Again, that's pretty cool, without the need for a trusted third party. So, how do I say that? What's a good example? I don't know, let's say you're buying a house and you're writing the contract, and the bank has to verify that the contract was signed appropriately by the title company, third party. That's a perfect example of when you have to have a third party, an intermediary between you, the buyer, and the seller. Well, they also have real estate agents in the middle of that as well, but then the bank is in the middle of that as well. The bank definitely wants to know that the title company said, yes, everything's good and we're ready to go before they move funds. By programming in, you're essentially, in this case, you could be programming in what the title company function does, checking up on all of the background of a property and making sure that the seller is indeed the owner and that the survey is indeed accurate, and a number of other things that A good one would be setbacks on a property. You can't, build your shed right on the edge of your property line, right up to it. There are setbacks, like 4 feet is a typical one for that type of thing. There are third parties that would have to verify that. That can be written in code, and of course it would have to mean that there's an accurate survey that exists for the smart contract to go look up. So there are a lot of things that have to go into place for that type of contract to be appropriately executed over time on the blockchain. But right now, other types of contracts that might be a little bit more simple are definitely where we're going to start on the blockchain. Now, smart contracts operate on an if this then that principle and can be used to help exchange assets such as money, property, shares in a company in a conflict-free manner without the need for middlemen such as a lawyer. Now, standard contracts can be amended. Smart contracts must be defined with care because once they are written to a blockchain, their logic is set in stone and can't be changed.